Hello everyone, it's Linchpin here, and a good Friday to you all. And as promised, today I'm going to show you a recipe that's hot cross buns and iced buns together, presented in this nice tin, all like an Easter mural. Now, I'm not in the video today because the light is too dark. By the time I finished filming this, the light was too poor for me to be in the video. So I'm just going to be explaining it while Sweetie Pie shows us. And as you can see here, the bread is super soft. It's super fluffy. And getting it this soft is really easy because I'm going to show you a technique that doesn't need much kneading. It just needs a little bit extra time. So here's Sweetie and Bibbit. Say hello. Now, Sweetie needs both of her hands to do this recipe, so she's going to let Bibbit have a rest and watch. The milk you need in this recipe has to be body temperature, which means if you take a little bit on your finger and rub it on the inside of your wrist, it should just feel wet. It shouldn't feel hot, it shouldn't feel cold. It should be just right. Now take a spoonful of the sugar and sprinkle it into the milk. And then add the yeast sachet on top of it. All of the ingredient amounts are in the link in the description box. So now you just need to let that ferment a little bit. Add the salt to the flour, followed by the rest of the sugar and the butter. Now you're going to rub this in by hand until it resembles kind of like a coarse breadcrumby sort of mixture. You can see here, if you see the odd bit of butter, it's okay, but it should be pretty fine. And then you need to make a well in the middle. The yeast mixture should be nice and frothy by now, as you can see. It's fermented a little bit. And now you need to add in the eggs. So we have 2 eggs here, and give it a good mix before we pour it into the well in the middle of the flour mixture. Now we're not going to knead this, as I said earlier. We're going to mix it with a wooden spoon. It has to be a firm implement like a wooden spoon, because you're essentially replacing your hands with the spoon in this. So you need to mix it through. If the mixture looks a little bit dry like this one does, you can add an extra 4 tablespoons or so of milk, but no more than 4 tablespoons. I'll go into detail on that on the blog post. You just add it in bit by bit, mixing it in. And by the time you've added all the milk, it should look kind of stringy, and you need to be very rough with it, you know. You need to really give it a good churning with that wooden spoon. It should have a sort of stringy consistency, as you can see here. It's kind of rough and claggy. It's not smooth. And if you see here with the spoon, it kind of is as I say, it's stringy. Now you need to let this rest somewhere warm until it's doubled in size. That could take an hour to an hour and a quarter, depending on your house. And here it is, after it's risen. It took us about an hour and 10 minutes. And it's doubled in size. Now again, we're not going to knead this. We're going to knead it with the wooden spoon. And we're just going to do that really rough mixing thing again for about 2 minutes, until it sort of starts to ball up as you're mixing it. As you can see here, it's kind of a ball in the middle. This needs to double in size again, which took about 45 minutes for us. It could take you a full hour, and it should look like this when it's done. And now comes the fun part, getting your hands in. So flour your hands so that they don't stick too much to the dough, and then release the dough from the bowl, from the sides first. Then sprinkle flour on your work surface. Yeah, sprinkle it well. This is a very sticky dough. Sticky dough means very soft bread, and that's what we want. But it does mean it can be tricky enough to work with, so be patient. You see, it's all stringy. Ooh, look at that. Keep the flour with you, so that if you need to sprinkle on a bit more, you can. And just work the dough a little bit, just to smooth it out. Maybe about 3 minutes of gentle kneading. If there's any extra left over in the bowl, don't let that go to waste, scrape it out. Now we're going to divide this dough ball into 2 equal pieces, because we're going to leave one plain, and then we're going to add some hot cross bun ingredients to the other half. So we're just going to put that off to one side while we work on the spice dough. So here I have some mixed spice and it's been moistened a little bit with some water to make it easier to knead in. And this is where it's going to get very messy. It's going to kind of smear across the table as you're kneading it, but be patient and just keep working with it. If you need to use a bench scraper or a rice paddle or something to scrape it up, please do. And once you've got the mixed spice in, you can now add your mixed fruit. I'm using raisins and mixed peel because I like those, but you can use any kind of mixed fruit that you particularly like. Glacé cherries, currants, candied ginger, whatever you feel like. See, look at how nice and soft that dough is. Isn't that fabulous? Now we need to work on the white one, because we've been kneading this spiced one for a while. It needs to rest. So while that's resting, just, you know, get its bearings back a bit, you can work with the plain dough and divide it into 6 equal pieces. I use a weighing scale to do that because I just find it easiest. And now we're going to roll up the dough balls into very taut little balls using the surface tension against the work surface. So if you cup your hand and roll it, kind of applying downward pressure, it should turn into a nice little ball like this. Once you've done it all with the plain, it's time to do it with the spiced. Again, 6 equal pieces. Once you've done this, you should have 12 nice, even and taut little dough balls. And it's time to put them onto the tray. The measurements will appear on the screen, but you can use any tray that you can fit these balls into. It's up to you. You can use a round one if you like. She's giving them a little bit of a roll here before they go into the tray, just to doubly make sure. She's alternating the white with the spiced, just for a pretty effect. You can put them all on one side if you like, or what. Now you're going to leave them until they've expanded by about 2/3 in size, which is about 30 to 40 minutes. And what's a hot cross bun without its stripes? Here Sweetie Pie is making the dough for the stripes. The ingredients are in the blog post below. It's essentially just flour, butter and water mixed together into sort of like a Play-Doh consistency. You could go the traditional route if you like and use milk and flour and pipe it on top, but I find sometimes that can be a little bit fiddly. So this is sort of the cheating route if you like. Now you can see here the buns are nice and puffed. You can brush them with milk and then put on the stripes, or the crosses in this particular case, using the pastry. Then brush them with milk again before you pop them into the oven. And they need to bake for about 10 minutes at 200 degrees, and then they come out looking fabulous like this. Oh, don't they look amazing? Good job, Sweetie and Bibbit. Yum yum yum. Now it's time to glaze the buns. Now we're just glazing the hot cross buns because remember we're going to decorate the plain buns with icing later. So just using a nice bit of runny honey, brush them across the hot cross buns while they're still warm from the oven, and once you've brushed on the honey, let them go completely cold so you can ice them. As you can see, Sweetie has got a variety of different colours of icings that she's going to use to decorate some Easter characters on top of the plain buns. So a few little spring animals and some nice coloured eggs. Ooh, I think she's drawing a lamb here. How cute is that? And here we are, the final product. Don't they look so fantastic? They're almost too pretty to eat. So thank you very much for watching. As mentioned earlier, the blog post with all of the recipe and amount conversions is available in the description box below. Take care everyone!